A more sinister individual has never walked the earth. His opponent better be ready to do battle with Satan himself.
Guys, I think now's a good time to tell you that I really don't like snakes.
Oh, I hope he puts that bag on this table.
Oh, no, Gus, no, please don't.
As sly and shrewd as they come, dangerous, accomplished, a master manipulator.
One never knows what thoughts are floating throughout the mind of Jake the Snake Roberts.
If you want to talk about taking a dangerous journey, just book a ticket into the dark mind of Jake the Snake Roberts. During your stay there, you can be sure you'll come across his python Damien and, of course, the DDT.
And it looks to me like this entire arena is on its feet, and understandably so.
Suplex!
Oh, perfect kick.
Neckbreaker.
Jake Roberts a little out of his element here.
He looks to be a little surprised right now.
Hey, you're going to absorb some punishment in a wrestling match. It just goes along with the territory, and he knows that. I doubt he's all that concerned at this point.
Elbow drop. See if he takes the bait.
Oh, what impact. Oh, an elbow drop.
Jake Roberts is starting to show signs of fatigue.
I'm not sure how much more he has to give.
Oh, man, his chances are dwindling quickly. He's just taken on so much punishment.
You know, I thought this match was going to be much more tightly contested. I guess that's not the case, though. The WWE Universe has seen the evolution of the steel cage in the enclosure known today as Hell in a Cell. The first time an enclosed cage was seen was in October of 1983 in the last Battle of Atlanta. The enclosed cage was seen a few years later in the War Games match from the NWA. There were even cages stacked on top of each other, like WCW's Tower of Doom.
Byron, when we talk about the progression of steel cage matches and the type of structures that have been spawned from them, I need to point out that some cages have been electrified. One was made from bamboo in the form of a Punjabi prison match. And, of course, the elimination chamber with glass pods and steel doors.
And today we have the Asylum match, where weapons are on top of the cage. Just goes to show you the
Game, set, match. This one is over. The best way to describe combatants clashing inside a steel cage is its battle of attrition. Sometimes a superstar is left with no choice but to fight fire with fire and do whatever they need to do in order to win the match. And sometimes it comes down to a superstar doing whatever they need to do in order to survive. Look at this!
What a stomp.
Good grief!
Byron, you touched on this earlier, but it's so important for a superstar to accept that there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide in a steel cage match. That the conflict will be resolved within the 15-foot-high steel walls that surround the ring. And that losing a cage match can mean much more than a mark in the loss column. For some, it has meant the end of their career.
It's difficult to describe the damage that can be done to a superstar who competes in a steel cage match. We see the physical harm, but we don't see the psychological effects from being inside the cage. Make no mistake about it, Michael. The steel cage truly represents survival of the fittest. We talk about how important stipulations are in a steel cage match. If superstars sign a contract where the only way to win is escape the cage and have both your feet touch the floor, the competitors must have a plan. Especially since you have to be comfortable trying to escape through the cage door as you do climbing over the top of the cage and vice versa.
Corey, you touched on something moments ago that's so important for the combatants in a steel cage match to remember. A superstar must be able to think offensively to figure out how they're going to escape the cage. They must think defensively at the same time so they can prevent their opponent from getting out of the cage first and winning the match.
Well, a superstar must become comfortable with escaping the cage by both exiting the cage door and by climbing over the top of the cage. They must also be aware of their attributes and what's best for them. Let's just say if you're a giant like The Big Show, The Undertaker, Kane, or even Braun Strowman, it's preferred to exit through the cage door.
The rivalry between Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude began during the Super Pose Down at the 1989 Royal Rumble. Then it progressed to where both superstars battled over the Intercontinental Championship. At SummerSlam 90, the rivals met inside a 15-foot-high steel cage for the WWE Championship. Victory could be achieved by pinfall or escape from the cage.
Corey, the WWE Championship match between the Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude was the second half of the double main event at 1990 SummerSlam. The rivalry between the Warrior and the Ravishing One was so heated that no one knew what to expect once the two men were able to battle inside a steel cage, which at the time was the most grueling match in all of WWE.
The Ultimate Warrior dominated early on with his incredible strength. Rick Rude turned the tables and used the steel surroundings to his advantage. At one point, Rude dove from the top of the cage onto the Warrior. But after the Warrior's signature Gorilla Press Slam, the Ultimate One climbed over the cage and retained his WWE Championship.
Before 2017's Extreme Rules, there were just 3 previous tag team matches where championship gold was decided inside a steel cage in the history of WWE special events. The Hardy Boys were in 2 of those matches. At Extreme Rules, in order to win the match, both members of a team had to exit the cage and have both feet on the floor.
The Hardys used their famous continuity to gain the early advantage until Cesaro and Sheamus utilized their HP. The sharpshooter cinched in.
The snake is down and out. Man, it's almost impossible to get out of that.
Oh, and he releases the hold.
Wow. Part of me thought that was it, Cole.
Oh, did you see that, Byron?
That was unreal. The steel cage is a massive enclosure that stands 15 feet in height. For almost 35 years, a select group of high flyers have taken their aerial assaults to greater heights. And when I say that, I mean superstars climb to the top of the steel cage, the real high-rent district, and dive off onto their opponent. And that all started with one man in
This will go down as one of his hardest-fought battles in WWE.
And here's another peek at some of the more memorable parts of the match.
He ain't messing around.
I know the match was solidly entertaining, but I really hope these guys would take it to the next level. Regardless, nobody's asking for their money
The
back.
Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Extremely impressive win, guys.
That was simply a case of one guy determined to prove his dominance over another.
It'll be interesting to see the fallout following this big singles win here tonight. And we're underway. Looking at these two men, I don't think there's going to be anything traditional about this one-on-one matchup.
And there are few things more unforgiving than the cold steel of a cage match.
Vicious strike. Backbreaker.
That'll realign your vertebrae.
Oh, continuing to punish them.
Harsh schoolboy out of nowhere.
The pinfall and the victory.
When you introduce the enclosure, everything is possible. What a match this was.
Here is your winner, Mr. McMahon.
And there's your winner via pinfall.
Wow, when you pick up a pinfall victory over somebody like that, you've done something right.
Singles action is underway, and in this one, I wouldn't attempt to predict what's going to happen. I'd just be ready for anything. Sometimes that's all you can do.
Well, the door's locked, and at this point, the competitors might just be wondering exactly what they've gotten themselves into.
Randy Orton has over 15 years of experience in WWE, and he hasn't slowed down a step.
Yeah, if anything, the Vipers become even more proficient with that devastating RKO.
Mr. McMahon may be starting to fade here. He's going to want to make sure this doesn't snowball out of control.
You hate to think this way, but part of me thinks he might be over his head inside that steel cage.
By the looks of things, I don't think he expected his opponent to be as motivated as he clearly is here tonight.
There's a move. Nice. Beautiful technique.
He's going for the pin.
Slammed down hard.
Now it's Mr. McMahon on his heels a bit. His hopes of winning this match appear to be dwindling in a hurry.
I'm a little disappointed in his show. Maybe it's me, but I really expected more from him here tonight in this steel cage match.
Yeah, I'm sure he saw things going differently for him here tonight, but that clearly isn't the case, unfortunately for him. And here comes Orton.
Oh! I'd never advise anyone to go up against Mr. McMahon. But if you are, you can't let things turn into a wild brawl. The chairman of WWE will throw everything he's got at you.
The brand of offense may not seem conventional, but when a matchup breaks down into an all-out, drag-out fight, that's when Mr. McMahon is at his most dangerous. Where there's chaos, there's opportunity.
A superstar does not want to get into an exchange of punches and kicks with Mr. McMahon. Don't let the suits and private planes fool you. The chairman is...
He's looking at it.
RKO! That just happened? That's how you put an exclamation point on the end of a match, guys.
This is Randy Orton's chance. There's a certain feeling that comes over the combatants in a steel cage match once they hear the door close and see the official lock it. A superstar must know that their body is going to be thrown against the steel, that their face will most likely be raked across the cage, and that anything is legal in this environment.
Boom, what impact!
We spoke about this earlier, Corey. It's crucial for a WWE superstar to fully understand the gravity of the situation they're in when they battle inside a 15-foot-high steel cage. An individual must be ready to endure pure brutality and be prepared for the fight of their life. No one leaves a steel cage match without scars.
Corey, you said something of value for once, in that anything is legal inside the steel cage. To that point, something else we've seen over the years is interference. Whether it's The Undertaker coming up through the ring or John Cena getting bashed in the head with the cage door from the outside, it's all legal in the cage.
Nail it.
Randy Orton, no problem getting out of that one.
Oh, what incredible power. Wow, what a vertical suplex. Standing drop kick.
Great ups. Oh boy, he is rolling. Oh.
Randy Orton is one of the most dominant competitors in WWE history with few weaknesses. Corey, how would you target the Apex Predator?
One needs to look at Orton's medical history for the key. More than anything else, shoulder injuries have put the Viper on the sideline.
Wow, I thought he was a goner.
Facebuster! What a stomp!
Good grief.
Corey brought up Orton's many shoulder injuries earlier, and my quick research corroborates that. He suffered one just 6 months into his career and has been out of action as recently as 2016 due to shoulder issues.
Well, even if you don't re-injure the Apex Predator's shoulder, it's still smart to target it as you'll drastically reduce the effectiveness of his RKO.
According to historians, the twisted metal that we see as part of steel cages today dates back 80 years. To settle a dispute between competitors Jack Bloomfield and Count Pietro Rossi, the two met inside a ring surrounded by chicken wire. At first, these types of matches were referred to as fence matches.
Corey, you gave us an impressive history of the origins of the steel cage match. I'd like to point out to our viewers that from the 1960s to the mid-1980s, chain link fences were used to enclose the ring for WWE steel cage matches. A superstar could win by pinfall submission or by exiting the cage through the cage door or climbing over the top of the cage.
We should also point out, Michael, that the way to win a steel cage match can vary by match depending on what was agreed to before contracts to compete in the match were signed. Talking about history, at WrestleMania 2, WWE...
And if he hits this,
Cutter! That's what he was looking for, Michael.
I think some people miscategorize Mr. McMahon's use of the stunner. There's a saying about all being fair in love and war. That certainly applies to the conflict between Mr. McMahon and the Texas Rattlesnake and finishing moves.
What is this? Why is he out here right now?
Corey, please, it takes an incredible amount of nerve to perfect your own version of opponent's finishing moves. That's what Mr. McMahon has done with the stunner, as a deliberate slap in the face to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Guys, Mr. McMahon utilizing the stunner as a way to humiliate his adversaries and defeat opponents are direct shots at the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
he's got him covered. 2!
It's no secret that Mr. McMahon can be brash, confrontational, and at times even explosive. At one point, Mr. McMahon had an exclusive club where members would kiss the part of his anatomy he uses to sit down.
Knee drop. Man, what a slam.
Byron, you touched on something earlier. Mr. McMahon can most definitely be vain, smug, pompous, adversarial. At one point, the chairman of WWE referred to himself as a genetic jackhammer.
Byron, you showed up on television dressed like a baby. Who are you to insult Mr. McMahon? Mr. McMahon knows what's best for the WWE locker room and the WWE universe better than they do themselves. Sometimes you have to crack a few eggs if you want to make an omelet.
If someone doesn't like what Mr.
He's not going to go quietly.
No superstar worth his salt ever does.
A man like that seems to have an endless store of energy. There's a certain feeling that comes over the combatants in a steel cage match once they hear the door close and see the official lock it. The superstar must know that their body is going to be thrown against the steel, that their face will most likely be raked across the cage, and that anything is legal in this environment.
You spoke about this earlier, Corey. It's crucial for a WWE superstar to fully understand the gravity of the situation.
And Randy Orton makes the cover.
What a decisive victory for Randy Orton. Incredible.
We're going to be hard-pressed to see a better match than that. Here's another look.
These superstars gave as good as they got, and these fans got their money's worth from the opening bell.
He's getting after it here.
He's going to want to make sure he saves every minute of this match for his personal highlight reel, because he was on fire in this one.
The Apex Predator, the Viper, Randy Orton.
And Orton walks away with a win.
That's the kind of win that makes you feel good about yourself.
Guys, it sounds like we can all agree that was an extremely impressive win.
Kurt Angle has created so many historical moments throughout his decorated career. A victory tonight would be another prestigious accolade for the multi-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist.
For generations, the steel cage match has been considered one of the most ruthless matches of all time.
Kurt Angle has earned medals, championships, and a Hall of Fame ring. The Olympic hero does not play second fiddle to anyone in that locker room.
Byron, you forgot to mention that he won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
I was going to mention it. The best way to describe combatants clashing inside a steel cage is its battle of attrition. Sometimes a superstar is left with no choice but to fight fire with fire and do whatever they need to do in order to win the match. And sometimes it comes down to a superstar doing whatever they need to do in order to survive.
Byron, you touched on this earlier, but it's so important for a superstar to accept that there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide in a steel cage match. that the conflict will be resolved within the 15-foot-high steel walls that surround the ring. Now, losing a cage match can mean much more than a mark in the loss column. For some, it has meant the end of their career.
It's difficult to describe the damage that can be done to a superstar who competes in a steel cage match. We see the physical harm, but we don't see the psychological effects from being inside the cage. Make no mistake about it, Michael. The steel cage truly represents survival of the fittest.
Whoa, Angle dodged that one.
He still got it.
What a strike! Goes down hard.
The elbow.
Set him up.
Russian leg sweep.
Oh, nasty impact.
He's making a statement here with this attack.
Drop kick. This might be it. Oh, my.
He's starting to stagger a bit. This could be the start of an ugly downward spiral if he's not careful.
Hey, it's not an easy atmosphere to excel in. Not only is he in the ring with WWE's toughest, but he's surrounded by an incredibly unforgiving steel cage.
The good news for him is that his opponent's offense is likely packing a little less of a punch, considering all the damage he was able to inflict earlier in this match.
The rivalry between Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude began during the Super Pose Down at the 1989 Royal Rumble. Then it progressed to where both superstars battled over the Intercontinental Championship. At SummerSlam 90, the rivals met inside a 15-foot-high steel cage for the WWE Championship. Victory can be achieved by pinfall or escape from the cage.
What a strike.
Corey, the WWE Championship match between the Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude was the second half of the double main event at 1990 SummerSlam. The rivalry between the Warrior and the Ravishing One was so heated that no one knew what to expect once the two men were able to battle inside a steel cage. Gets the shoulder up. Wow.
According to historians, the twisted metal that we see as part of steel cages today dates back 80 years. To settle a dispute between competitors Jack Bloomfield and Count Pietro Rossi, the two met inside a ring surrounded by chicken wire. At first, these types of matches were referred to as fence matches.
Corey, you gave us an impressive history of the origins of the steel cage match. I'd like to point out to our viewers that from the 1960s to the mid-1980s, chain-link fences were used to enclose the ring for WWE steel cage matches. A superstar could win by pinfall, submission, or by exiting the cage through the cage door, or climbing over the top of the cage.
We should also point out, Michael, that the way to win a steel cage match can vary by match, depending on what was agreed to before contracts to compete in the match were signed. Talking about history, at WrestleMania 2, WWE unveiled the redesigned steel cage with solid steel blue bars before returning to chain link mesh in the late 1990s.
He knows he's in trouble.
This could be all she wrote. Beautiful technique. Warm up the bus. This one is over.
Kurt Angle's champ.
Look at this.
1, 2, 3.
This steel cage match is in the books.
I can't believe what we just witnessed. Steel cage matches never fail to surprise and amaze.
Overall, this match was average at best. But not every match is going to be memorable. In fact, I've almost forgotten it happened already.
Here is your winner, Matt Johnson.
That's a big win, although there was a moment there where I thought it was going to go the other way.
There's nothing more pure than picking up a win in a good old-fashioned
You can expect these superstars to put their bodies on the line to take each other down.
These superstars have waited a long time for this match to take place.
Well, the door's locked, and at this point, the competitors might just be wondering exactly what they've gotten themselves into.
I saw Shane O'Mac out at ringside earlier, and I think he was scouting for somewhere to jump off of.
Yeah, as long as it's far away from this announce table, I'm looking forward to it.
Touche.
This might be it.
Oh, my.
Leg drop across the throat. Leg drop across the throat.
Harsh impact.
Now it's Shane McMahon with some reason for concern.
But he's very aware of who he's in there with and what he has to do to rebound.
Yeah, he's taking on some offense here, but that's to be expected, especially considering who he's in the ring with.
Well, this certainly escalated in a hurry. I don't think any of us expected to see him fall behind so quick.
He's got the shoulders down. Shane McMahon quickly getting the shoulder up.
Just powered out.
Right across. Oh, debilitating elbow drop. Nailed it.
You know what I respect most about Shane McMahon, guys? It's that he could very easily sit on the sidelines and reap the benefits of being Mr. McMahon's son. But instead, he chooses to prove his worth each and every time he steps into the ring.
Leg sweep.
Nicely done.
Byron mentioned how Shane proves his worth by step. Uh-oh.
Side effect!
Oh, it's the cover. And he gets the shoulder up. Not yet.
Matt Hardy, big move coming.
Uh-oh. Twist of fate.
This one is
Shoulders on the mat. And he got a near fall out of it.
Look at that. Shane McMahon does his family proud despite being in bad shape.
I've been a part of WrestleMania since 1999 and at ringside since 2003. And the biggest ovation I think I've ever heard was when the Hardy Boys returned in 2017.
Avoids trouble there.
Clothesline!
Michael brought up the return of the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania in 2017. The WWE Universe hadn't seen either Hardy for 6.5 years. So to make their return on the greatest stage of them all was a pretty big deal.
Big deal? I'd say it was the most delightful surprise in WrestleMania history. Even better was the fact that the Hardys made their return in the match that they made famous, the ladder match when they became the Raw Tag Team Champions.
Wow, look at the quickness by Shane McMahon.
We talk about how important stipulations are in a steel cage match. If superstars sign a contract where the only way to win is escape the cage and have both your feet touch the floor, the competitors must have a plan. Especially since you have to be comfortable trying to escape through the cage door as you do climbing over the top of the cage and vice versa.
DDT!
Spike them.
Corey, you touched on something moments ago that's so important for the combatants in a steel cage match to remember. A superstar must be able to think offensively to figure out how they're going to escape the cage. They must think defensively at the same time so they can prevent their opponent from getting out of the cage first and winning the match.
Well, a superstar must become comfortable with escaping the cage.
Uh-oh.
Side effect! Here's his moment.
His shoulders are down. No, he kicks out at 2.
I can't believe it. He just won't go away. Look out, look out.
This could be it. Counter here.
Oh, boy, he was rolling.
Lariat.
The steel cage is a massive enclosure that stands 15 feet in height. For almost 35 years, a select group of high flyers have taken their aerial assaults to greater heights. And when I say that, I mean superstars climb to the top of the steel cage, the real high-rent district, and dive off onto their opponent. And that all started with one man in October of 1983, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
To your point earlier, Byron, we've definitely seen some unbelievable attacks be launched from the top of the steel cage. And you mentioned the most iconic, the steel cage match for the Intercontinental Championship that saw Jimmy Superfly Snuka clash against bitter rival, the magnificent Morocco.
There's no denying that Superfly set the bar. You look over the years to people like Jeff and Matt Hardy, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, and Chris Jericho. They continued to push the envelope and executed unbelievable attacks from the top of the cage. And watch Rikishi take flight off the top of the steel cage. Wow.
The rivalry between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt reached its end in one of the most bizarre matches in WWE history. The final...
Not now. Not now.
Oh,
no.
That's a combination. Bam!
Can he finish him off here?
Oh, boy, he is rolling.
I have to interject because the Woken Warrior has said that you two obsolete mules cannot possibly convey the one... Uh-oh.
Side effect! Just when you...
And into a quick cover is Matt Hardy.
What a way to win a singles match.
When you introduce the enclosure, everything is possible. What a match this was.
These guys showed flashes in this match, but flashes don't exactly set the world on fire, as these highlights show very well. These guys showed flashes in this match, but flashes don't exactly set the world on fire, as these highlights show very well. This match wasn't exactly a barn burner, but we can't expect every superstar to be on their A game every time, I guess. The superstars in this one got after it pretty good from the opening bell. Can't complain about the effort, technical proficiency, or result.
Here is your winner, Matt Hardy.
I don't make the matches, but if I did, I'd put these two back in the ring ASAP. What an amazing match.
Social media has been buzzing over this Raw match ever since it began, and now that it's over, I actually anticipate it intensifying.
HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, is back.
The following contest is a steel cage match. Making his way to the ring from San Antonio, Texas, weighing in at 227 pounds, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn.
The showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels has earned every single moniker bestowed upon him in his career. Well, Shawn Michaels has come a long way from the days when he trained with the legendary Jose Lothario back in 1984. What a storybook career.
And his opponent from Pearl River, Mississippi, weighing in at 303 pounds, Matt Johnson.
Get ready, guys. Big-time singles matches coming up here.
And I can assure you these two superstars have been waiting all day to get their hands on each other.
Steel cage action kicking off here, guys.
These guys are undoubtedly going to give us a show here tonight.
Ask any current WWE superstar who their greatest influence is, and you'll find the Heartbreak Kid high on that list.
It's probably because HBK has a reputation for always stealing the show every time he entered the ring. Something the current era strive for every night.
Ooh, what impact. Belly-to-belly suplex.
Oh, flying forearm. That'll turn your lights out. Face first.
Drop kick.
Great athleticism. Oh, nasty impact.
Ooh-wee.
You gotta believe this one's over.
He goes for the cover. It's going to take more than that to keep his shoulders down.
Yeah, this early, no chance.
The WWE Universe has seen the evolution of the steel cage in the enclosure known today as Hell in a Cell. The first time an enclosed cage was seen was in October of 1983 in the last Battle of Atlanta. The enclosed cage was seen a few years later in the War Games match from the NWA. There were even cages stacked on top of each other like WCW's Tower of Doom.
Byron, when we talk about the progression of steel cage matches and the type of structures that have been spawned from them, I need to point out that some cages have been electrified. One was made from bamboo in the form of a Punjabi prison match. And, of course, the Elimination Chamber with glass pods and steel doors.
And today we have the Asylum match, where weapons are on top of the cage. Just goes to show you, the times may change, but the...
Michaels setting it up.
Swinging neck breaker.
He looks absolutely exhausted. He's absolutely running on fumes right now.
I think this one's over. Boy, at this point, he's going to need to have some magic up his sleeve if he wants to get back in this match.
Before 2017's Extreme Rules, there were just 3 previous tag team matches where the championship goal was decided inside a steel cage in the history of WWE special events. The Hardy Boys were in 2 of those matches. At Extreme Rules, in order to win the match, both members of a team had to exit the cage and have both feet on the floor.
The Hardys used their famous continuity to gain the early advantage until Cesaro and Sheamus utilized their devastating power to slow the pace of the match down. Both teams battled atop the steel cage, but in the end, Sheamus and Cesaro won the race to the arena floor to become new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Elbow drop with authority.
When this guy's on, look out.
HBK, the sharpshooter, cinched in.
Wow, I'm just as surprised as you guys are.
The pressure's too much. They tap.
That match is worth another look. Here we go.
Some pretty good give and take in this match, as these highlights show.
Here is your winner, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Big win for Shawn Michaels.
Great effort from both these guys, Michael. I'm willing to bet this isn't the last time you see them square off.
As we close the book on this match, I need to remind everybody just how big of a win this was. Simply amazing. The entire locker room should consider themselves warned. Tonight, the Apex Predators coiled and ready to strike. If Randy Orton has it his way, tonight he returns to his rightful position at the top of sports entertainment.
Randy Orton has over 15 years of experience in WWE, and he hasn't slowed down a step.
Yeah, if anything, the Vipers become even more proficient with that devastating RKO.
Boom, what impact!
Hooked up. Boom!
Look at this. Boom, nice. Oh, chin-breaking uppercut. Standing drop kick.
Straight up.
He's still got plenty of gas left in his tank, though.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Cole. This is just a little bump in the road for him here. Nothing to worry about.
I know it's early, but he has to do everything in his power not to let this get out of hand.
What a clothesline! Ouch! Over 15 years into his WWE career, there were a few firsts left for Randy Orton to conquer. But he found one when he beat Bobby Roode and captured the United States Championship for the very first time. Uh-oh, look at this!
And the slam! Michael mentioned Randy Orton's United States title win, and true to Orton form, it came out of nowhere. After a quickly intensifying rivalry, the Viper beat the Glorious One at Fastlane for the one title he had yet to claim.
In the process, Orton became only the 10th person in WWE history to become a Grand Slam champion, which requires you hold the tag titles, the United States title, Intercontinental title, and a WWE championship. Another apex for the Apex Predator. Success breeds success, and he's definitely having some right now.
Long before Matt Hardy was woken, he was one of the most innovative and successful tag team competitors as part of the Hardy Boys with his younger brother Jeff.
Uh-oh. Hung out to dry.
Oh! No doubt about that one.
Momentum is fully in the corner of Randy Orton now.
Byron brought us back to the...
Wow, I thought he was a goner. Oh boy, he is rolling.
Uh-oh.
Side effect! I'm not sure how much he has left. Randy Orton got the worst end of that stick. It might be cliche, but it's true here. It ain't over till it's over.
I have to tell you, the RKO from Randy Orton is a thing of beauty. Well, unless you're the one who's getting dropped by it. The Apex Predator's speed and power are just the beginning because an RKO can occur at any moment. Success breeds success, and he's definitely having some right now.
Vintage Randy Orton!
Here's his moment, Michael.
Corey, it still amazes me how quickly Randy Orton can strike an opponent with the RKO. Obviously,
Randy Orton is RKO! That just happened! But he's running on fumes here. Does he have cover here?
The cover, and this one's history. What a win.
Let's take another look at what made that matchup so memorable.
This match wasn't exactly a barn burner, but we can't expect every superstar to be on their A game every time, I guess.
Man, this was great. He really put on a great show.
Here is your winner. He is the Apex Predator, the Viper, Randy Orton.
It may not appear that way, but that beaten and battered competitor standing tall inside that cage right now is your winner.
You know, it didn't happen often, but I can attest, being pinned is humiliating.
What a match that was, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. This should be an incredible matchup. I mean, both men have extensive offensive repertoires, lasting endurance, and an insatiable appetite to be number one.
Look at them, locked inside that cage like a couple of rabid animals.
Ask any current WWE superstar who their greatest influence is, and you'll find the Heartbreak Kid high on that list.
It's probably because HBK has a reputation for always stealing the show every time he entered the ring. Something the current era strive for every night. Boom! Nasty impact.
You gotta believe this one's over.
Drop kick. It's the mark. Boom, what impact. Scoop slam. Point of the elbow, nailed it. What a slam. Impactful. Will jar your spine. This might be it. Oh, my. There's a certain feeling that comes over the combatants in a steel cage match once they hear the door close and see the official lock it. A superstar must know that their body is going to be thrown against the steel, that their face will most likely be raked across the cage, and that anything is legal in this environment.
Looks like Randy Orton has broken a sweat. With these two guys, we all knew this was going to be an all-out battle.
He spoke.
This steel cage match is in the books.
Let's take another look at these guys in action.
Here is your winner and the new WWE Champion, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
What a ferocious conclusion to this steel cage match.
Wow, I can't believe the amount of punishment that had to be inflicted in order for those shoulders to stay down for the 3 count.
I'd like to think we just saw one of the greatest title matches in a very long time. I hope you enjoyed it, folks.